So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So check this out, right? I've been wanting to double back. Definitely been wanting to double back and talk about Yellowstone more. Ever since we checked out that Volcano video and they mentioned Yellowstone and talked about what the possibilities were if it were to erupt. I ain't gonna lie, man. I ain't gonna lie to you and say I didn't lose a little bit of sleep that night thinking about that, because my mind was just, it was everywhere, bro, thinking about that. You know what I mean? And I've never been. So for y'all who've been to Yellowstone, I hear it's a beautiful place. It's got some of the best sights you can see. It's just amazing. But yeah, I might have to gain a little bit more confidence before I step foot over there, bro. Just saying. But anyway, I've been wanting to double back and dive deep and get other channels' perspective on what would happen with Yellowstone. So this video here, shout outs to Real Life Lore. This video is titled, "What Happens If Yellowstone Blows Up Tomorrow?" Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's a heck of a way to dive right into it, right? What else you expect from me? So we're gonna check this video out. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and join the fam. Let's check this out.
Of an annual subscription to Skillshare Premium. Geographically, the United States has to be one of the most beautiful countries in the world. From the Grand Canyon to the Rocky Mountains to the beaches on 2 of the world's oceans and beyond. The list just goes on and on. There's so many beautiful parts of the United States that the country established its own National Park Service back in 1916 in an effort to help maintain and protect them. And in total, the service is now in charge of 63 of these protected areas, and when combined together, they cover an area of 85 million square kilometers, which is...
Hey, that's a lot of places. Just looking at this map alone, it's a lot of places, man, that I had. Yosemite, look at that. Redwood. Now y'all can keep Death Valley. The Grand Canyon. I feel like everybody has to go there, and I still have yet to go there, so I gotta go to the Grand Canyon. You know what I mean? It's a lot of these places. How many places on this map have you guys been to? Let me know in the comment section, man. This just lets me know I got a lot more traveling to do.
They cover an area of 85 million square kilometers, which is roughly the same size as the entire country of Germany. One of the most famous of these US national parks is Yellowstone. It's located in the northwestern corner of the state of Wyoming, with some overlap into Montana and Idaho, and it covers roughly 9,000 square kilometers of land. Yellowstone is well known for its abundance of wildlife and its many geothermal features. Particularly Old Faithful, a geyser that regularly blasts water 50 full meters into the air approximately every 90 minutes. Over 4 million people visit the park to take in all of these sights every year, but Yellowstone is harboring a dangerous secret. It's located just atop a slowly ticking time bomb. The largest...
See what I mean? See what I mean? It's words like that. A slowly ticking time bomb. Now, why do I want to go there? Tell me, y'all. Tell me why now do I want to pay money, travel, go visit that, when all in my mind the entire time I would be thinking about is tick, 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 tick. I wouldn't be able to enjoy myself.
Located just atop a slowly ticking time bomb. The largest supervolcano, not only on the North American continent, but also anywhere on the planet right now. And it has a bit of a troubled past. You see, the Yellowstone caldera that we know today was actually formed by several titanic volcanic eruptions that took place a long, long time ago. One of them took place 2.1 million years ago, another that took place 1.3 million years ago, and the most recent taking place approximately 664,000 years ago, long before Homo sapiens had ever arisen over in Africa. The last of those, that surrounds the Yellowstone Lake, ended up ejecting so much material during the blast that it left a 55 by 80 kilometer depression in the ground that we now know today as the current Yellowstone caldera. And each of these three colossal events is what is known geologically as a super eruption, meaning that on the Volcano Explosivity Index,
Mount St. Helens, October 2004. Mount St. Helens again, December 1989. Well, I'm starting from the wrong way. Yellowstone, 600,000 years ago. Tambora, 1815. 7,700 years ago. Long Valley, 760,000 years ago. Pinatubo, 1991. Mount St. Helens, 1980. Indonesia has one, 2010. Mount St. Helens, then Mount St. Helens again, then Mount St. Helens again, bro. Like, yeah.
Super eruption, meaning that on the Volcano Explosivity Index, they would all be listed as a magnitude 8 or higher, and at a minimum, at least 1,000 cubic kilometers of material was ejected during the most recent blast. Which is, well, insane to comprehend, because that would basically be enough volcanic ash, lava, and other material to bury the entire state of Texas 1.5 meters deep. If we look at the geological history of Earth, we know that on average, the planet suffers from one of these supervolcanic blasts roughly once every 100,000 years. The most recent such occurrence was the New Zealand Lake Taupo volcano, which blew up approximately 26,500 years ago. But by looking at the history of the Yellowstone eruptions specifically, a disturbing pattern begins to look like it's emerging. The second most recent explosion took place about 800,000 years after the third most recent, while the most recent one happened about 636,000 years after that one. And as mentioned previously, this most recent event happened 664,000 years ago.
Basically saying again, tick, 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 tick. It is a ticking. Any day it could decide to blow its top. Fam, I was sitting there doing the math when he first threw up this picture, you know, this slide right here. And I was looking at it from 664,000 to present saying, oh my God, we're due. We're due.
Previously, this most recent event happened 664,000 years ago, which is 28,000 years longer than the time between these two most recent explosions. This is one of the biggest reasons why Yellowstone in particular often receives so much attention in the global press. However, experts and scientists have repeatedly assured the public that an eruption at Yellowstone anytime in the near future is exceedingly unlikely, and the volcano's current status is dormant. Based on over 30 years worth of research, the evidence gathered suggests that while, yeah, it's theoretically possible, a mega eruption isn't likely to happen anytime within the next 10,000 years. Keep in mind that on the geologic timeline, it took roughly 8...
How did that make y'all feel? Do y'all believe it? Did that make you think you'll sleep better at night knowing that, especially if you live close to that area? Did that help? Because it didn't help me much. I'm just saying.
Years. Keep in mind that on the geologic timeline, it took roughly 800,000 years between event number 3 and event 2. Which is 136,000 years longer than we've gone now since event 1. But that's not really any fun. If Yellowstone defied all of the odds and blew up today anyway, how bad would it actually be? Let's do some speculation. The whole Yellowstone volcanic system itself is huge. Like, it's way bigger than you probably think it is. For example, the magma chamber that lies underneath the national park today is estimated to be a single connected chamber that is 60 kilometers long, 29 kilometers wide, and 8 kilometers deep, and holds an absolutely absurd amount of molten lava. This chamber is fed by a gigantic plume of molten rock that wells up from hundreds of miles beneath the Earth's surface. And fascinatingly, as this magma rises up into the chamber and cools, the ground above will periodically rise and fall, And because of this, the elevation of ground within the Yellowstone Park will fluctuate up or down by a few inches a year. Now, before
Looks like the ground is just breathing. You know what I'm saying?
any massive eruption would take place, it would very likely be preceded by a huge amount of seismic activity. Basically a warning sign that something really bad was about to happen. Many seismologists estimate that there could be substantial earthquakes preceding any blast at Yellowstone that would last for weeks or even months beforehand as rock below gets broken up by magma as it surges further and further up towards the surface. Here, pressure would continue building and building and building and with increasing intensity until, with nowhere left to go, the magma would explode through the ground in a cataclysmic eruption, with debris getting flung as high as 24 kilometers up into the stratosphere. Shortly afterwards, the lava flows themselves would engulf the surrounding area, and anywhere inside a range of 65 kilometers from the epicenter would be in danger of becoming literally buried in lava, which is basically the entire territory of the national park itself. Beyond this immediate danger of burning, the blast would eject 1,000 cubic kilometers of material up into the sky, creating a type of umbrella cloud expanding evenly in all directions and darkening the skies over most of the North American continent. This cloud would rain down toxic volcanic ash across the entire mainland United States.
I know I was thinking, I know some of you who are on the East Coast with me was probably thinking, maybe we're good, maybe we're at a fair distance. No, that shadow just kept growing until it covered us all and pretty much just hurt my feelings. Pretty much just then seeing that.
Over most of the North American continent. This cloud would rain down toxic volcanic ash across the entire mainland United States. Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, Montana, and Utah will, however, experience the most significant devastation and will probably be almost completely buried with up to a meter thick of hot volcanic ash. Denver, Salt Lake City, and Boise will be severely damaged or just outright destroyed. Meanwhile, across the Midwest, Nevada, and southern Alberta, there would still be inches of ash coating everything in sight. Even the Atlantic and Pacific coasts would likely see a small dusting, although much of it would be highly dependent on the time of year and weather patterns involved. Basically, if you're looking at this map, everything in blue would be completely wiped out.
So question, knowing this, would you guys, I guess it's mainly for the people that live in that area, do y'all not consider that? Because at this point, looking at this map right now, I consider everybody in that radius right there, and especially in that purplish looking pinkish area, like, that's danger zone. You know what I mean? That's hot zone. You know what I mean? And at any moment, I know scientists say but you're still in the back of your mind, like, I don't know if I couldn't live there, bro. And I know it's probably certain dangers on the East Coast that y'all would be like, I couldn't live there. And I totally get that. But seeing this right here, it'd be pretty hard for me to stay there, man. Because think about it. And I just learned in the previous video that something can go past our planet and trigger earthquakes and volcanoes. Something going past our planet can trigger that. You know what I'm saying? So them saying based upon the readings they have now here on Earth, but something can trigger that to happen, and all of that seismic activity that you've been monitoring just goes out the window, and then all of a sudden now. And then what's the course of action? Like, do we get out of the country? Like, are we prepared? Like, what is the course of action if this thing decides to erupt and explode? Are we trying to go to another country? Where are we trying to do? Like, I got questions.
Everything in purple would be highly damaged. Everything in orange would be sort of damaged. And everything in yellow would be mildly damaged. The North American continent would take a pretty significant bruise. But the worst part of all of this would obviously be the terrible toll that it would take on human life. With a full meter of ash possibly being poured down upon you and your city, even if you are not close enough to see the volcano, it could still possibly kill not only you, but also plants, animals, and even crush buildings with the sheer weight of dense ash deposits. Even just a few inches of ash can completely ruin farmland, clog up roadways, and create serious respiratory issues for large amounts of the population. Not to mention that it would take out key infrastructure, contaminate water supplies, down power lines, prevent nearly all air travel on the entire continent, and even take out electrical transformers, which would bring America's power grid to a complete and utter halt. What could be even worse is that the ash would likely wipe out the entire Midwest's crop of corn and soybeans, and could even poison the farmland for an entire generation. This would make food production within the United States severely crippled, and America would likely have to rely on food imports from other continents in order to survive. But beyond the absolute chaos going on across North America, a volcanic eruption this big would also have a major impact on the global climate and affect everybody who lives on this planet in some way. You see, volcanoes can emit sulfur aerosols that are capable of reflecting sunlight back away from the Earth, which causes the climate to cool down. For example, most recently when Mount Pinatubo erupted in the Philippines in 1991, it's estimated that it cooled the planet by an entire 1 degree for at least a few years. And that's not to mention the Great Tambora eruption, which occurred in Indonesia in 1815. That eruption, which was rated as a Category 7 on the Explosivity Index, is believed to have cooled the planet enough to damage crops around the world, potentially even causing several severe famines in certain areas. There was even snowfall during the month of June in the eastern half of the United States that year, as it became known as the year without a summer. These eruptions, however, were relatively tiny events when compared to what a supervolcanic Yellowstone eruption might look like. Although it's hard to say with any kind of certainty, scientists estimate that with the amount of material that would be ejected into the atmosphere, the planet might cool by as much as 10 full degrees for an entire decade following a cataclysmic eruption at Yellowstone. Obviously, a change in the climate that huge would cause a global catastrophe, as crops around the world would be affected, likely endangering the lives of hundreds of millions of people and doing untold amounts of damage. FEMA, the US Federal Emergency Management Agency, even published a rough estimate on what it thought the total damage cost to the United States would be in the event that Yellowstone ever actually blew. In that report, they estimated that it would cause roughly $3 trillion in damages, or almost 14% of the entire United States GDP. Ooh. So, yeah, Yellowstone blowing up like this would be really, really bad for everybody. But it's more than likely not gonna actually happen during any of our lifetimes unless one of you becomes immortal. Because if you look at the frequency of the last 3 big eruptions, the odds of one happening in any given year are roughly 0.0001%, which is actually lower than the...
I always hate when people give stats like that. Oh, it's not gonna happen this year, or it would take such and such for it to happen, and then it happens. You know what I'm saying? I hate that. I hate hearing that. I hear that in sports where they throw out this ridiculous stat or saying this almost never happens, and then blah, blah, and then it turns around and happens. Like, don't do that. No, tell us what we should be thinking about in the event, or we just accept our fate.
Odds of civilization getting wiped out by an asteroid. So this isn't really a problem that you have to worry too much about right now. But maybe there's another problem or challenge that you are facing right now for a big personal goal or a passion project that you've been really excited to start, but you're not quite sure that you have the skills required to do it just yet.
I think that's an ad ending the video. Let me check and see. Hold on, y'all. I think this is that skill share. Yeah, that's skill share. But yeah, man, I would love to hear what's our plan, you know? I feel like they should be like, remember in school, the little evacuation plans they had posted on the walls by the doors and different places. What is our plan in the event of something catastrophic like that happening? I would sure like to know, you know, we're occupied doing a lot of other things, but we need to take care of home first and make sure we're good and we have a plan, you know. Yo, Elon, holla at me. Because if something like this, I'm going to need a ride, bro, to Mars with you. You know what I mean? I want to be at the front. I want to be one of the first ones on. You know what I mean? You know how I remember on Titanic when they was doing like women and kids? I need to be up there with them. Somebody got to protect them. You know what I mean? But anyway, man, I feel like Yellowstone is definitely very, very, very fascinating, man. Just knowing that type of stuff in your mind. I'm sorry, y'all. I know some of y'all was like, I didn't need that information. But yes, you do. Don't run from it. You need that information. I got you. I'm bringing it to you. You know what I'm saying? We're going to look at it together. As much as I hate stuff like this, you can bear with me, all right? And yeah, man, y'all get at me in the comment section and let me know what you thought about this, man. What do you think the course of action should be if, in the event that does happen? You know what I mean? I hate to bring the bad, you know what I mean? Bring the bad vibes in the room, but it is what it is. We got to talk about this stuff. Serious. We're adults. All right. Y'all get at me. Let me know what you think and stick around and stay tuned, man. Until next reaction, I'm gone. Peace.